All praise is due to Allah. He created humanity, and He knows all things, whether concealed or disclosed. Allah is the greatest. Whatever He wills happens, whatever He does not will cannot happen, and no amount of caution can make anyone exempt from what He decrees. All praise is due to Allah. He deserves all praise in the beginning, the end, and at all times of the day. Allah is the greatest. I say that while having Iman in Him, His angels, His scriptures, His messengers, and His decree. I testify that none has the right to be worshipped except Allah alone without any partner. He is completely unique. All creatures are in need of Him, and there is nowhere anyone can flee to escape Him. I further testify that Muhammad is Allah's worshipping servant and messenger. He was the most immaculate of creation, and both His prior and future sins were forgiven. O Allah, grant your commendation, protection, and blessings to Him, His noble family, His brilliant companions, and all who continue to follow their path for as long as people still fast and proclaim your uniqueness and perfection. Allah deserves the greatest of exaltation. He deserves the most abundant of praise, and He deserves that His perfection be proclaimed at all times of the day. My dear audience, I counsel all of you, as well as myself, to observe taqwa of Allah. May Allah grant all of you His mercy. You are the successors of those who preceded, and I say to you, observe taqwa of Allah. Take the necessary provisions for yourselves, and prepare adequate answers for the day of resurrection when you will be questioned. Take all the initiative you can now while you still have the chance. Today is for deeds without reckoning, while tomorrow is for reckoning without any further deeds. The luxuries of this world are insignificant and temporary, whereas the hereafter is far better for those who observe taqwa. In the hereafter, no amount of injustice will be done to any of you, not even as little as the fine thread in the slit of a date seed. Allah is the greatest. He grants His guidance to those who obey Him, and He accepts their deeds. All praise is due to Allah. He is kind towards His servants and enables them to give much. Dear Muslims, may Allah make your Eid a time of many blessings, and may Allah accept the fasting, prayers, and righteous deeds that we devoted to Him. This is a day by which Allah has granted us much goodness. It is the Eid that we, the people of Islam, have been blessed with. It is certainly a source of great happiness to have fasted, completed fasting, and now be able to glorify Allah such that we proclaim His greatness from deep within ourselves, and we continue to obey Him with the limbs that we have outside ourselves. Allah prescribed His directives in order for you to complete fasting the appointed number of days, proclaim the takbir to glorify Allah for all the guidance He granted you, and express your gratitude to Him. Eid is for declaring Allah's greatness, praising Him, proclaiming His perfection, glorifying Him, being grateful to Him, and worshipping Him properly. Allah prescribed His directives so that you would proclaim the takbir to glorify Him for all the guidance He blessed you with. Eid is a time of joy and happiness. It is like a prize that Allah has granted His servants who have Iman. Our Eids are to be times of affection, giving, love, selflessness, generosity, upholding ties, and manifesting the teachings of brotherhood in Islam. Dear Muslims, we would like to discuss some points related to one of the major elements of Eid, visiting each other, as well as the manners related to it and the results it produces. One of the most noticeable features of any Eid among the people of Islam is that they visit each other, exchange prayers and kind words, and express their gratitude to Allah. They do that with happiness and clean hearts. Dear Muslims, humans are social beings by their very nature, and Islam is a religion of togetherness and harmony. The person of Iman who mixes with people while bearing their harms attains a greater reward than the person of Iman who does not mix with people or bear their harms. Brotherhood for Allah's sake existing between Muslims is both a motto and a genuine feeling from within. It entails loving others for Allah's sake, as well as cooperating to obey Allah and avoid disobeying Him. A person will be with those whom he loves, and he will attain from Allah what he seeks from Him. 4 things that foster love are visiting, extending the salam, shaking hands, and giving gifts. Allah is the greatest. Allah is the greatest. None has the right to be worshipped except Him. Allah is the greatest. Allah is the greatest, and all praise is due to Him. Dear Muslims, Al-Hafidh al-Nawawi, may Allah have mercy upon him, commented that it is a source of much reward to visit righteous individuals, brothers, neighbors, acquaintances, and relatives, and to treat them kindly and maintain ties with them. He also commented that how those take place among people varies based on the variations in their circumstances, responsibilities, and availability. Visiting others should take place in a manner which they do not dislike and at a time that is suitable for them. My dearly beloved audience, with that being said, we will now draw attention to some of the things which scholars have mentioned regarding the manners related to visiting others, as well as the effects of doing so. One should have a sound intention for visiting, and his motive should be maintaining ties with others for Allah's sake and fulfilling their rights. An appropriate time should be chosen, one which is customarily expected to be a time at which guests would be received. Arrangements for visiting should be made, and manners of seeking permission should be observed. Unsettling surprise visits are to be avoided. Arrangements should be made for a time at which your brother would be prepared to receive and meet with you. If he excuses himself, you should be prepared to accept that with a clean conscience. People's circumstances are to be given consideration, as mentioned in the exalted conduct outlined in the Quran. If you are not granted permission, but you are instead asked to turn back, then turn back. Doing that will be best for you. Allah is the greatest. He grants those who fast enormous rewards. All praise is due to Allah. He has promised His obedient servants the greatest of enjoyment in the hereafter. My dearly beloved audience, other points to be observed when seeking permission are clearly identifying oneself by name and asking permission politely. In addition, one must be mindful regarding the length of his visit. It should neither be so long that it induces disinterest, nor so short that it fails to fulfill the objectives of maintaining ties and fostering love. How these manners are practically observed is governed by the relationship between the parties involved in any visit, as well as the degree of closeness that exists between them. The time specified by a host should also be observed. Consider the statement of Allah, "Leave after having your meal. Do not remain after eating and engage in long discussions with one another. That certainly annoys the Prophet, and he is ashamed of asking you to leave. However, Allah is not ashamed of the truth." Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, had said, the fact that Allah was not ashamed to tell them that truth suffices to know that their company was burdensome. Al-Hafidh ibn al-Qayyim, may Allah have mercy upon him, commented that people avoid someone whose company is a burden, even though he may have a significant level of religious practice. Kindness and speaking intelligently have profound effects upon people's hearts. A person whose company is a burden is not one of Allah's outstanding obedient servants. You can readily notice that when a person is kind and he speaks intelligently, he would be the best of people to accompany, the easiest to deal with, and the softest in heart and soul. Something else to be given consideration during visits is using time for beneficial purposes. In addition to being lighthearted, making others happy, and being a good companion, beneficial purposes for visits include things like maintaining ties, fostering love, learning from a scholar, and emulating the sound conduct of those who personify it. These should be done while listening to others well, respecting them, benefiting from those who have specialized knowledge, and also presenting issues and problems with respect and a proper approach. Not with argumentation, since that eliminates the potential of gleaning benefit, and it can also incite animosity and malice. In addition, care should be taken to not raise one's voice unless there is a need for it. In the counsel that Luqman offered his son, he said, "Do not be unnecessarily loud when speaking. Indeed, the most repulsive of voices is the braying of donkeys." Some of the individuals known for their wisdom remarked that if there was anything praiseworthy about raising one's voice, Allah would not have likened that to the voice of donkeys. Allah deserves abundant praise as He Himself prescribed, and Allah deserves the greatest of exaltation, which is what He instructed us to give Him. Dear Muslims, also among the manners to be observed are avoiding talking and moving about excessively, and avoiding meddling in a host's private matters. In fact, it is obligatory to avert one's glance from what is not permissible for him to look at, and to refrain from looking all over a host's dwelling and examining its contents. Furthermore, one should not converse about things that a host dislikes, such as asking intrusive questions or discussing things that he would not want others to know about. You should not extend your eyes to certain things, just as you would not extend your hands to them. In addition, one should avoid disparaging the actions he may observe, or the food or drink with which he is presented. The only exception is if he is offering sincere counsel about those things, provided that he offers it with wisdom in how and when he does so. A guest should sit where he is allowed to by his host, since the host is the one most entitled to arrange the seating of his guests. The Prophet, may Allah grant him commendation and protection, drew attention to this in his statement, "No man should lead another in prayer while in that man's home, or sit on his furnishings, unless he allows." One should not depart unless he requests the host's permission. He should also extend the salam when leaving, just as he did when entering, since the first is no more entitled to being extended than the latter. All praise is due to Allah for the bounty He bestows upon His obedient worshipping servants. Allah deserves the greatest of exaltation for as long as He continues to reward His obedient servants and pardon their sins. Other manners to be observed include receiving guests well, treating them kindly, and being cheerful around them. Al-Awza'i, may Allah have mercy upon him, was asked about what honoring guests entails, and he replied, "A cheerful face and pleasant words." Al-Fudayl ibn Iyad, may Allah have mercy upon him, remarked, "For a man to be pleasant towards those who accompany him, and to observe sound conduct around them, is better for him than standing to pray in the night and fasting in the day." May Allah have mercy upon Al-Fudayl. He may have drawn that idea from the hadith of the Prophet, may Allah grant him commendation and protection, in which he stated, "By observing sound conduct, a person of Iman may most certainly attain the rank of someone who prays throughout the night and fasts throughout the day." This is collected by Ahmed and Abu Dawud with Sahih chain of narration from Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her. Another manner to be observed is listening well. This entails waiting until one's companion finishes before one speaks himself, facing him when listening, and not interrupting him even if one knows what he will say. Ata, may Allah have mercy upon him, said, "A young person may narrate a hadith to me, and I listen to him as though I have not previously heard it, although in reality I already heard that hadith even before he was born." A further manner to be observed is keeping one's gatherings clear of anything that contradicts Islam's teachings, such as impermissible forms of mixing, impermissible foods or drinks, slander, and backbiting. People should be trustworthy companions, and what others confide to them should remain in their hearts and not be divulged. Some of the most apparent signs of brotherhood, as it relates to visiting others, are to accept their excuses, make up for their shortcomings, and overlook their flaws. If a guest has young children, he should keep them under control and restrain them from behaving in any way that disturbs the host or others in attendance, whether by way of movements, words, or noise. A host should see his visitors off and accompany them to the door. This is part of being a good host and completing sound conduct. Ash-Sha'bi, may Allah have mercy upon her, remarked, "Part of completing a visit is for you to walk with your guest to the door and take hold of his mount." Dear Muslims, visit your brothers and relatives, acquire their love and supplications, find out about their circumstances, and do good for them which would foster affection. Do not await anyone to repay you for the good that you extend to them. Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, narrated that Allah's Messenger, may Allah grant him commendation and protection, said, "If someone visits an ill person, or visits a brother of his for Allah's sake, a caller will proclaim to him, 'May you receive goodness, may your steps be ones of goodness, and may you be granted a dwelling in Jannah.'" This is collected by Tirmidhi, and its chain of narration is Hasan. There's also a hadith that was collected by Malik and Ahmed with a Sahih chain of narration from Mu'adh ibn Jabal, may Allah be pleased with him. He said, "I heard Allah's Messenger, may Allah grant him commendation and protection, say, Allah the Almighty and Most Majestic said, 'My love is guaranteed for those who love each other for my sake, sit together for my sake, visit each other for my sake, and give to each other for my sake.'" Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, narrated that the Prophet, may Allah grant him commendation and protection, said, "There was a man who set out to visit a brother of his in another town. Thus Allah placed an angel at a point along his path. When the man reached that point, the angel asked, 'Where are you headed?' He replied, 'I am heading to a brother of mine in that town.' The angel asked, 'Is there something that one of you owes the other?' He replied, 'No, I am going because I love him for the sake of Allah, the Almighty and Most Majestic.' The angel then said, 'Allah sent me as a messenger to inform you that Allah loves you, and that is due to you loving your brother for Allah's sake.'" This is collected by Muslim. Visiting each other brings the soul delight, draws hearts together, fosters unity, and engages minds productively. You accompanying your brother for Allah's sake is a gift from one soul to another, so do not make it an opportunity that is wasted or time that is killed. Rather, make it time spent together for what yields benefit, comfort, and fruits that would not dry out. May Allah grant all of you His protection. Strive to uphold the rights of others, endeavor to maintain unity, and make your love for others sincere. Allah the Most Exalted said, "People of Iman, do not enter homes other than your own until you have asked permission and extended the salam to those in them. That is better for you, in order for you to be mindful. If you find no one there, you should still not enter until you are given permission. If you are not granted permission, but you are instead asked to turn back, then turn back. Doing so will be best for you. And Allah has complete knowledge of everything that you do." May Allah bless us all by the glorious Quran and guidance of Muhammad. May Allah grant him commendation and protection. I say this much and I ask Allah to forgive me, you, and all Muslims for all sins. Thus seek forgiveness from Allah, as He is certainly the most forgiving, the bestower of mercy. Allah deserves the greatest of exaltation. He deserves the most abundant of praise, and He deserves His perfection to be proclaimed at all times of the day. May Allah grant His commendation and protection to our Prophet Muhammad, as well as his companions and all of his family. All praise is due to Allah. He honors those who obey Him and observe taqwa of Him. Allah is the greatest. He disgraces those who oppose His directives and disobey Him. Praise is due to Allah in all circumstances, whether in the sweetness of blessings or the bitterness of trials. I praise Allah as He's perfect in every way, and I'm grateful to Him for the grace He has so generously bestowed upon us. I testify that none has the right to be worshipped except Allah alone without any partner. He grants His favor to whomever He wills, and thus draws them near. He also distances whomever He wills, and thus leaves them to whatever they chose for themselves. I further testify that our leader and Prophet Muhammad is Allah's worshipping servant and chosen messenger. O Allah, grant your commendation, protection, and blessings to your messenger, as well as to his family, companions, and all who continue to follow his path and emulate his guidance. Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest, none has the right to be worshipped except Him. Allah is the greatest, and all praise is due to Him. Dear Muslims, visiting each other draws people's hearts together, just as it draws people together physically. Visiting enables people to foster love, find out about how others are doing, exchange expertise, consult with each other, solve problems, support each other, remind the heedless, educate the ignorant, straighten the crooked, give souls comfort, alleviate difficulties, spread happiness, and console the grieving. Muhammad ibn Munkadir, may Allah have mercy upon him, said, "No enjoyment of this world remains besides meeting with one's brothers and making them happy." And Hassan al-Basri, may Allah have mercy upon him, remarked, "Our brothers are even more beloved to us than our families. Our brothers remind us of the hereafter, while our families remind us of this world." Allah is the greatest. He is the one who brought all things into being. All praise is due to Allah. To Him belongs everything in the heavens, everything upon the earth, everything between them, and everything beneath the earth's surface. May Allah grant you an abundance of blessings on this Eid of yours. You must realize that overdoing things when it comes to visits leads people to be distant and feel burdened. However, when hearts are clean, nothing needs to be overdone. When people overdo things, importance is given to appearances, priorities are neglected, showing off becomes an objective, minds and bodies become preoccupied, and pockets are emptied. These bring about a feeling of being burdened, and they lead people to increase in distance from each other. Sharing lineage does not keep someone who cuts ties near. Having love for others is the closest of lineage. A relationship of shared lineage requires love to exist, but having love for others does not require sharing lineage with them. Visiting each other while observing the foregoing manners is one of the most prominent features of a Muslim community, and it strengthens affinity and ties. My dear brothers, within these sacred precincts, and in response to an invitation from the custodian of the two holy mosques, leaders of our ummah came together for the summits which our blessed nation recently hosted. The leadership of our nation, by way of its wisdom and accountability, is well aware that safety, stability, and development cannot come about in a vast ocean that continues to heave with turmoil and crises, and there is no path to well-being, peace, and prosperity without solidarity and sincerity in confronting the various problems and crises that exist. Our blessed nation is the heart of the Muslim and Arab world. This is due to our nation having a foundation which is firmly established upon Allah's religion, maintaining harmony, preserving the unity of our ummah, taking initiatives which foster brotherhood, and confronting corruption and terrorism. Our nation strives to exchange perspectives and seek consultation with its brothers and partners along its course, since they are all aboard one single ship. In this location, where our leaders have come together, they will indeed find a foundation and central point of reference, as well as loyalty and strength. 3 summits were convened to focus our ummah on its responsibilities and define its approach and stances towards current events, with full awareness of what is required at this stage. The summits convened accurately read current events and charted their course, giving consideration to developments, realities, and agreements. This enables all to fulfill their duties towards their Lord first and foremost, and then towards their people, their history, and their nations. Their message is that ensuring the well-being of the security, stability, and economy of our ummah is a responsibility shared by all Arab and Muslim nations. The summits reflect the united stance of Arab and Muslim nations in the face of endeavors which aim to incite strife, division, and terrorism. They have provided a solid shield and firm stance against meddling with the security and resources of the ummah. The esteemed leaders came together for summits that were exceptional in their nature, manner, time, location, and subject matter. They came to this pristine location for noble objectives. They were led by their attachment to Allah, and then by the sacred site of the Kaaba in this pure land. This blessed location is a source of light, a location from which Allah's message emanated, and a location where His revelation descended. It represents security and a truly elevated platform. Its strength, sincerity, and history have provided a beginning, an influence, and a message during these virtuous days and magnificent nights. May Allah bless all the steps being taken, set straight the course being followed, unite our ummah upon the truth and His guidance, and turn the schemes of the hostile against themselves. My dear brothers, we also wish to mention that our security personnel in all capacities are well aware of their duties and responsibilities. We implore Allah to grant them His assistance and His support in defending all that we hold sacred and in protecting what is sacred to all the people of Islam. Dear Muslims, be happy on this Eid of yours. Be grateful to Allah, and we beseech Allah to grant all of us many blessings on this occasion. Eid is an occasion to spread affection, to keep hearts clean, to make amends for wrong that has been done, and to reconcile with others in the event that any animosity existed in the past. Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest. None has the right to be worshipped except Him. Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest. And all praise is due to Him. Our Prophet Muhammad, may Allah grant him commendation and protection, told us that if someone follows fasting in Ramadan by fasting 6 days in Shawwal, it would be as if he has fasted the entire year. In conclusion, invoke Allah to grant His commendation and protection to His final messenger. Allah instructed us to do so in His statement. Indeed, Allah grants His commendation to the Prophet, and the angels invoke Allah to grant him even further commendation. People of Iman invoke Allah to grant the Prophet commendation and to grant him protection as well. O Allah, grant your commendation, protection, and blessings to your worshipping servant, messenger, and chosen Prophet, as well as to his pure family and his wives who were the mothers of the people of Iman. O Allah, be pleased with the Prophet's 4 rightly guided successors, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali, as well as all the companions and those who continue to follow them until the day of reckoning. O Allah, grant strength to Islam and the Muslims. O Allah, grant strength to Islam and the Muslims. Weaken shirk and those engaged in it. Protect the lands of Islam and grant victory to your believing, worshipping servants. O Allah, grant victory to your religion, your book, the sunnah of your Prophet, and your believing, worshipping servants. O Allah, grant us safety in our nations. O Allah, grant us safety in our nations. Make our leaders and authorities people who are righteous. O Allah, Lord of all creation, make our leaders people who fear you, observe taqwa of you, and seek to please you. O Allah, bestow your guidance upon our leader, the custodian of the two holy mosques, and support him with the truth. Direct him to do all that you love and are pleased with, and assist him so that he would do all that is best for your servants and their lands. O Allah, grant your guidance to him, to his deputy, and to their brothers and all their aides. O Allah, make our leader a means of support for Islam and Muslims, and use him to unite the people of Islam upon the truth and sound guidance. O Allah, we call upon you to exact retribution from the occupiers in Palestine. O Allah, we seek refuge in you from their harm, and we ask you for protection. O Allah, we beseech you to grant us safety and well-being. O Allah, we ask you to support our troops who defend our nation. O Allah, we ask you to accept their martyrs and cure their injured. Our Lord, grant us good in this world, grant us good in the hereafter, and save us from the torment of the hellfire. Servants of Allah, bear in mind that Allah commands you to do all that is right, and He forbids you from all that is wrong and immoral. And Allah has complete knowledge of everything that you do. Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest, none has the right to be worshipped except Him. Allah is the greatest, Allah is the greatest, and all praise is due to Him. May Allah grant His commendation and protection to our Prophet Muhammad, as well as to the Prophet's family and companions.